All right, welcome in the NBA tip-off show the day after Christmas, and the NBA certainly delivered much better than the NFL yesterday, and we got ourselves a loaded card here today as just about every other team back in action, and so are we as the Pen, Ralph Michaels in the house, as is the one and only prop god, Andy Lang. And gentlemen, we're going to dive right in here with the contrarian play of the day here, and they are going to be looking, I know it's hard to believe, but they're going to be looking at the Brooklyn Nets, who are on the road taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. And as of this morning, as of taping this here, Damian Lillard has been upgraded to questionable with that calf injury there. It looks like Giannis probably going to sit this one back out here. Middleton is likely to play for the Milwaukee Bucks. Also, they are saying Cameron Thomas for the Nets, probably a game away from returning because of the hamstring. Dorian Finney-Smith looks like he is a go. Ben Simmons looks like a go, as does Cameron Thomas. So we've got a whole lot here to dissect, and we've got a double-digit spread. Lillard, no Giannis, Ralph. Boy, that's a lot of points here for the Bucks, who have been off a couple of days now. Brooklyn does appear to get slightly healthy here. Are we laying the points?
I am not going to lay the points. You know, even though Brooklyn is 1-4 against the spread their last 5 games, their only win and cover came at Toronto, where the Raptors shot 39.5%. I just can't get the Brooklyn side because of their offense. Their last 4 games, Joe, they have not topped 42%. 42%, 40%, 40%, and they shot 39% at Miami. So can I get to the Milwaukee side? Well, no. You know, we talked about no Lillard, no Giannis, and you look at their offense the last 5 games, they have averaged 46%. So, you know, I'm going to go with it as this. When you have some superstars out, teams can rally off, and if you have a quality team and you play better defense. They played without a couple guys at Chicago, and yes, it was the Bulls, but they held the Bulls to 40%. Against Washington the week before, yes, it was the Wizards, and they held them to 44%. So with Brooklyn shooting, with Milwaukee missing at least one, more likely 2 big offensive threats here, I do like the under in this game. So I will let Andy handle the contrarians, and I will lean with the under the total.
You're not alone, Ralph. 216.5. It opened up with bet all the way down to 212.5, Andy, which makes this 10.5 number even more interesting here with the Brooklyn Nets. But if Lillard is a go, and I think you said there's some props on him, well, we know at least one guy where some offense might be coming from for Milwaukee. But who else would you be looking at in this one?
Yeah, if Lillard goes, I'm definitely taking his rebounds. This play has been incredible. Over 3.5 rebounds. Gone over in 19 out of 23 games this season. Very fair price on it. Brooklyn gives up 6 rebounds per game to point guard. So I'm fingers crossed that he does play, because this has been just a fantastic play. I mean, it's hit 83% of the games this season, and you're only paying minus 133. So I would be all in on that one. I know Brook Lopez over his threes has been a popular look. He's gone over in 5 straight games, Brook Lopez. If Damian Lillard is out, I think you got to start looking at Chris Middleton points. The other interesting one that Chris Middleton has gone under his 3-point shots when he came back, but he's gone over his last 2 games. So is he starting to feel a little bit more comfortable? He's had 6 and 5 attempts in the last 2 games. That's more than his previous game. So he might be settling in a little bit more. Minutes might be going up a little bit more. So I would be interested in Middleton. But again, you kind of got to wait and see what's going on with this lineup with Milwaukee before you can make a real definitive opinion on the side or the total in the game. Side-wise, this Brooklyn Nets team is just awful right now. There's no way I can put my hard-earned money on them. It'll be a pass. Fingers crossed for the contrarian gods, though.
Yeah, it is disgusting, but 10.5 is a big ask for this Milwaukee team here. taking on the Brooklyn Nets. All right, we got a couple of interesting games, featured games here today. We got a lot of like Utah, Portland, which nobody wants to throw up and watch. But we'd appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up and the subscribe button as long as you're hanging out with us here. We will talk a couple of the better games here tonight. Plus, we'll talk a total and a few best bets. And one of the games of interest is going to be this Oklahoma City taking on the Indiana Pacers, who finally seem to have figured some things out. They are not nearly as fast-paced lately. They've been playing some defense, which is interesting, yet this total keeps getting bet up here, Ralph, and the money keeps coming in on OKC on the road, now up to 6 here. Do we trust OKC as a road favorite against a improved Indiana team?
You know, there were quite a few quotes out of OKC, and the players actually thought and said how disrespected we are for not being on Christmas Day. And they said the only thing we could do is go out and prove today that we should have been playing on Christmas Day. And yeah, they should have. I mean, they're one of the 5 best teams in the West, no question. So, you know, there is some motivation on that, but nobody right now is playing better basketball than the Indiana Pacers. Last 5 games, 5-0 straight up, 5-0 ATS. And listen to this. Outright upset by 9 as a 6-point dog in Phoenix. Outright upset by 27 points as a 3-point dog against Sacramento. Outright upset by 6 points as a 6-point dog to Golden State. They've, over the last 5 games, they've averaged over 50%. And Joe, you talked about that defense. Last 5 games, 43, 39, 49, 36.5, and 43.5. So then I look at, you know, OKC. We know they're the number 1 defensive team as far as efficiency goes. And the last 5 games, they have held foes to 30 to 39%, an amazing number. So I'm going to sort of take what you said, Joe. Indiana's defense has slowed the pace and playing incredible defense. We know OKC is going to play great defense. In fact, in their last 6 games, OKC has 1 over and 5 unders. And the Indiana Pacers, the last 4 games, all 4 games have gone under by 8 points, by 6 points, by 10 points, and by 13.5 points. Under is the only way I look at this game, and it has a chance to actually, I'm finalizing the NBA, it has a chance to make it on my client card.
Yeah, it's the initial reaction always, Andy, is to bet the over with Pacers games. But if you've been watching them and this is in your backyard, they're not nearly as high scoring as they've been. And they're actually winning games because of that defense that they've decided to play here. So I don't know why we're just assuming Oklahoma City's going to come in there and beat them by, 7 or more here. The Pacers have been pretty decent and have some rest here. Do you have any faith in them in this spot?
Yeah, I think you got to have a little bit of faith in the Pacers. I mean, I get it from Oklahoma City's perspective. They wanted to be on Christmas and, it's, disrespectful. And yeah, they could come out and just play that intense defense. But one guy I do like for the Pacers is Nembhard, over 11.5 points. He's healthy. Finally, he's gone over in 4 straight. Shot attempts are up. It's the Pacers are happy to have him looking more like 100%. A couple of props for the Thunder, though. In a weird one, Lou Dort, over 10.5 points. He hasn't been great recently, but he's gone over in every single game that he's played against the Indiana Pacers, and not by just a little. Like, for whatever reason, he just loves playing the Pacers. Like, his point totals are 27, 22, 12, 18, and 22. Like, that has to easily be his highest average against any NBA team. So, the other one is Mathurin, under 1.5 made threes. He's been ice cold. 6 of 34 last 9 games. Really, really rough. So, he's in a big-time shooting slump. You can see his attempt slowly kind of coming down, but I'd take Mathurin. If you're thinking that the Thunder are going to play amazing defense and you're looking at what kind of a player prop, look at Mathurin, man. OKC, nobody's better about guarding the threes, and you get Mathurin who's in a funk. Yeah, take the under there.
Looking at a under there, OKC and the Pacers here tonight. I think it's going to be a very interesting one. So is, well, the next game, where I doubt very much people are going to run to the window and bet the over between the Miami Heat and the Orlando Magic. Here's what we know. Yesterday, the story breaks that Jimmy Butler wants out of Miami. He's not making any ultimatums. But it does appear as Pat Riley and company are looking to accommodate him. And shortly after that story breaks, Jimmy Butler, shockingly, has been ruled out for this game against Orlando tonight. So no Jimmy Butler, probably not just tonight, but moving forward, I'm thinking, Ralph. Total's one of the lowest on the board, 208.5 for good reason. But listen, no Jimmy Butler doesn't mean Miami can't score here. So it's virtually a pick-em here. What are we thinking we're going to get tonight?
Yeah, Joe, he's conditioning. So, we'll look at conditioning, and that means what? Packing your suitcase. You, Rob, and I were on Christmas Eve, and we did an early Christmas preview, and we talked about during the holidays, it's a disadvantage to be at home. If you're at home before Christmas Day and you're playing at home Christmas Day, you're dealing with family and friends and relatives and you're out of your routine. While the road team, it's a business trip. And what happened yesterday on Christmas Day? Home favorites go 0-4, home dogs go 1-0. Well, when I look at December 26th, the day after Christmas, if you were home the game prior to Christmas and you were home the day after Christmas, you were only 31.2% against the spread since 2019. And that's the same thing we talked about. You're home for the holidays, you're hosting people, you have a party Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, then you're back at home the next day trying to get back into routine versus a road team. So there are a handful of teams that are home off a home game. That includes Orlando, Atlanta, New Orleans, and Sacramento. There may be one more in that mix, but those are the four to keep an eye out. Here's another situation where we have some strong player quotes. Remember, these two teams just played 2 games ago, and Miami blew a 25-point lead in their last meeting a few days ago. And, Tyler Hero came out and said, listen, we owe them. We were embarrassed. We will come back and win this game. So, the tough thing is, I like Miami in this role. I think they're the better team. Obviously, Orlando still without their big 3. They do have Suggs, but their 3 bigs are missing. But you just don't know when you have a player, your star player, who has been basically the franchise, wants a trade. You don't really know how the players are going to react the first few days. So it's a game that I am just going to stand away with. I agree that I would lean the under in the game, but we'll see how the Heat actually, if they rally around him that he doesn't want to play, or he was such a cohesive part that they'll struggle. So keep an eye on it the next few games, and I'll make my determination after a few games of the Miami Heat.
Well, Andy, it would seem no Jimmy Butler. That gives us an awful lot of opportunities for other guys here, like Bam Adebayo, like Tyler Hero, Duncan. So there are a lot of shots to be spread around here from a prop betting perspective. Anybody that you'd look at in this game?
I'll do a real quick one here. Do Jalen Suggs over 3.5 rebounds. He's flown over in the last 5 games, 4, 9, 5, 5, and 6. But the play, Joe, it's been the play of the year every year of Bam Adebayo's career. We cashed on this one earlier this year. Bam Adebayo to not have a made 3-pointer against Orlando. In his entire career, he has made a grand total of 0 threes against the Orlando Magic. He is 0 for 13 from 3-point land in 24 games against the Orlando Magic, and it's plus money tonight. That is a trend. I just can't get away from this trend. Why does he never make a 3-pointer against Orlando? It is cash time and time and time again. I think I got to play it just for old time's sake tonight.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'd look at Adebayo points over as well. He can score. It's just usually not from 3 in that spot. Without Jimmy in the lineup, expect Bam to get some more looks here tonight. All right, we got a total here in our overtime section we'll look at. It's not the highest on the board, but it's certainly the one that's been steamed up and over. Toronto taking on Memphis here tonight. Opened up at 236.5, seeing 239.5 here, Ralph. Is this simply an over or pass spot for you?
I'm just the opposite, Joe. I like the under, and I like the under quite a bit. You look at Memphis, and you look at them, and they're on the plus side by like 5 games on the season over-under. But they're 9-4 over-under on the road, and they're 9-8 over-under at home. But when you look at home against big totals of 228 or higher, they are 1-6 over-under, only one over with a high total at home, and they're holding opponents to 42% and only 105 points per game. They are starting to play legitimate quality defense. Last 5 games, let me go back further. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, last 14 games. All games, they have not allowed over 49%. They've held 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those opponents to under 42%. They've gone under the total each of their last 4 games. Now, when you look at Toronto only 3-8 over-under on the road. Barrett's home road dichotomy, scoring at home versus on the road, is night and day. And if they have 2 or more days rest, the offense really does bog down. And they're only 2-6 over-under with 2 or more days rest. I'd either go under full game or Toronto team total under the total.
I like it, going a little contrarian there. Andy, give me a prop in this one, man. A lot of points. What are you thinking?
I'm looking at my guy Santi Aldama. I like him. I like anybody on Memphis really to get some points here. He's gone actually under this total the last 2 games, but this Toronto defense just not that great. I can't say it's my strongest play. One thing that I've been doing is fading Scotty Barnes since he came back from that ankle injury. I am still blown away that he came back as early as he did, but he can't shoot threes. He's 0 for 8 2 games ago, 0 for 3 in his last game. His 3-point shot is completely gone away. So I would look at fading Scotty Barnes under 1.5 3-pointers. It's a good one. You can get that at plus money. I did kind of notice that he's also not going over his rebounds as well. It's just, he's not 100%. I'll just sum it up like that. Scotty Barnes is not 100%. This is not the same guy before. So you look at all of his categories, the unders have been hitting quite a bit. But I like Aldama. He's my guy. I like watching him play because he's so awkward and he's so slow, yet somehow he ends up going over his point total all the time. So.
Yep. Love it. Santi Aldama, get to it there as Memphis laying a big number in that game as well. All right, don't forget to hit that like button, guys. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Become part of the WagerTalk TV family, as we've got plenty of the NBA. We all know the season starts on Christmas. Nobody will admit it, but we all know it. I'll say it out loud. We do have a couple of best bets coming up. And Ralph, before you start us off with that best bet, tell us what you have loaded on a very busy holiday week and a half coming up here. Tell the folks what you got going on your page at WagerTalk.com.
Well, I have all 3 bowl games for Thursday in a package. I have a 5% college football play on Friday. By the way, my bowls are off to a 4-0 start. I have a 5% NFL play on Sunday. And remember, guys, with 2 big 5% plays and our year-end special, Holiday 25, gives you 25% off any package, any play, no restrictions, everything at WagerTalk. So why not take at least a 3-day all access or a 7-day all access, use coupon code HOLIDAY25, and you're going to save yourself 25% off the regular price. Take advantage. WT.buzz/RM.
How about a best bet, Ralph? Lay it out for us tonight, man. Where are you looking here on the card?
I'm going to go to Sacramento. And again, when coaches give quotes, I listen to them more than players giving quotes. Players are always going to say what they're supposed to say, but there's a lot of coaches that are honest. But, the Kings were blown out. This was their worst loss of the year in the loss to the Pacers. And they talked about getting booed at home is an absolute embarrassment, and every player hung their head in the locker room after that game. Detroit off back-to-back upset wins. They knocked off the Lakers the other night, and prior to that, they went and knocked off Phoenix, winning by 8 as a 6-point dog. But if you are off a win as a dog of 6.5 or more, and your opponent is off a loss as a favorite, since 2016, you're 64 and 112. That is 36.4%. So a 64% fade or a 64% play on Sacramento. If you look at the Kings, if you lost your last meeting against this foe as a home favorite, and you are a favorite of 7 or more, and you are off a loss as a home favorite in your last game, you have gone 63 and 23, 73% against the spread. So a very strong fade system on Detroit, a very strong play-on system against Sacramento. Yes, the Kings are 0-5 ATS, and yes, they've lost 4 straight against the spread, but they've been a small favorite in those. So they played some tough competition, the Lakers twice, Indiana, and Denver. So not afraid to back the Kings, Joe. And one thing that doesn't apply to anything, but you talked about having some ugly, ugly games. In the NBA, if you're looking at game number 20 and later, Joe, so you are legitimately a bad team with a win percentage under 30% after 20 games. If you're an away favorite, like Charlotte is against Washington, you've gone 51 and 24, 68% against the spread. So those very crappy teams after the first quarter of the season that are an away favorite, they're that for a reason.
Amen to that. Love it. All right, be betting Charlotte here right now. Thanks for that, Ralph. Andy Lang, tell the folks what you got locked and loaded here tonight and give us a best bet on the way out here.
Yeah, it's a big day for us and for clients. We have 2 5% plays going today. It's just kind of how it worked out. One is in the NBA, one is in college football. College football, it's been a real treat this year. 12-5 on plays. We're 25-9 lifetime in college football plays. And NBA 5-2 in our last 7, 4 and 5% best bets. We don't release these very often. So when we do, it's a number that we really, really like. But we're still running our 7-day special for $45 in honor of my 45th birthday. It doesn't get much discounted down better to this. 7 days for only $45. You get both of those 5% plays that goes off tonight. It's a no-brainer. We're up 16 units the last 7 days. We're up 212 units the last 2 years. That is number one at WagerTalk. So we've got short-term success, long-term success. We're hitting our 5% plays. It's a no-brainer to get that 7-day pass for $45. Let's go to our good friend Vucevic and a play that's been hitting most of the year. Let's take over 1.5 made 3-pointers. This guy's gone over in 12 out of 15. Yeah, 12 out of 15 games. This is by far his best 3-point shooting year, as you know, Joe. He's been kind of a revelation. I think a lot of people had written him off, and he's playing much better this year. Hawks are 30th in 3-point defense, and he's gone over the last 2 games against Atlanta. So we get a guy that's hitting this prop, you get a fair price, and the matchup just doesn't get much better against Atlanta. So let's keep riding Vucevic over 1.5 made 3s.
If it ain't broke, people, we ain't fixing it. And Vucevic, to his credit, has been getting it. It's the highest total on the board here tonight, 242.5, with the Bulls taking on the Hawks. All right, there you got it. Another NBA tip-off show in the books. Don't forget, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, become part of the WagerTalk TV family. Andy and Ralph both told you, great plays, locked, loaded, available on their page at WagerTalk.com. Visit them today. Come back and join us again. Another NBA tip-off show tomorrow here on WagerTalk TV. Good luck.